Well, time is running out.
In just 6 days, huge tax hikes and spending cuts threaten to push the economy back into a recession. Edgewood College business professor Moses Altsek is back with us tonight. Welcome back to Live at 5.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you.
So, Moses, most people have a basic understanding of this fiscal cliff, tax hikes and spending cuts. But what does that really mean, and what is at stake for middle-class families?
Well, for starters, the tax hikes are going to affect absolutely everybody. We're not talking about just top income earners or just the middle class. Even people who are really struggling, there's going to be higher taxes for absolutely everyone. Also, unemployment benefits that are going to expire are not going to be renewed. So the unemployed, even if you don't have a job, you're going to suffer. And as for the spending cuts, they're across the board spending cuts, which means, you know, if you're cutting your family's budget, you start from things that perhaps are not necessities, right? You may think, well, we don't need to go out to eat very frequently. We don't need to buy new, more jewelry or whatnot. But now we're talking about indiscriminate cuts across the board. Everything gets cut. Imagine if your family's budget, just like you're cutting your entertainment expenses, you're also cutting your budget for gas to drive to work, and your budget for food, and your budget for clothes for the kids. Everything gets cut. So needless to say, when the cuts are indiscriminate, you don't just cut muscle, you don't just cut fat, you also cut a lot of muscle. And it's just bad news for everyone involved.
I was going to say, this is bad for the country, don't you think?
It's really bad for the country.
So,
in fact, the Congressional Budget Office thinks we're going to go into a recession if we go off the cliff.
So why would they do that?
Honestly, both people on both sides of the aisle are really acting like spoiled children. They put their party's interest first as opposed to the country's interest. And it's a few weeks ago even, it was hard to fathom that we would be this close to going over the fiscal cliff. But nobody wants to compromise because politicians on both sides are really accountable to the really hardcore partisan base of their party, as opposed to the electorate as a whole. That's why they're not really in such a compromising mood. But you'd think that when push comes to shove, you really have to reach a deal, just because the alternative is so bad. That's why they call it the fiscal cliff. People thought it would have been impossible not to reach a deal given the consequences. And look at us now. We're talking about it.
5, 6 days out.
Well, it leaves you feeling so helpless and so powerless. I mean, is there anything we should be doing to protect ourselves from this, or to get ourselves in a position where we can ride this out?
Unfortunately, at this point in time, we're really so close that all we can do is really sit back and see what happens between Congress and the president. Needless to say, if your taxes and my taxes go up, we're going to become a little more conservative. We're going to spend a little less money. Business people who perhaps were thinking of investing, expanding their business, maybe hiring a few more people, are going to put that on hold. Banks that were becoming a little more generous with credit, giving credit to small businesses and giving out loans, are going to become a little more conservative. So absolutely, this is going to catch up with everybody. Now, a lot of people don't realize what exactly the implications are going to be, but they're going to find out soon enough, and it's going to hurt.
Hopefully we won't.
Hopefully we won't.
Hopefully we won't.
All right, Moses, thanks for being with us today.
Good to see you.
It's my pleasure.
Happy
Thank you for
New
having
Year.
me. Happy New Year to you too.